Welcome back again. Oh, jeez. This one is a request from Volcanic Decay, and he was wanting to know just how to get two different menus set up for the two different teams. And while as simple as that sounds, sometimes it does get hang-ups. So today I'm going to discuss exactly how to get that set up for you, and hopefully survive the whole process. Just like all the Radial menu tutorials, it's mostly script-based, so there's no map setup. Especially this one. This one doesn't have anything. So let's just jump right into it. Let's go ahead and actually set up our menus by going to Variables Advanced and grabbing Declare Menu Variable. I'm going to name this one Team 1 Menu. And make sure the scope is global because we're going to be using global this time. Makes everything a lot easier. Initial value can remain empty. And since we have this, I'm just going to duplicate it one time and name this one Team 2 Menu. And now we have both of our team's menus set up. Now let's get an event to actually access them. So let's go to Events Players and grab on Custom Input tab or whatever event you want to use. As long as you get the player reference, as I always stress, is very important. The next thing we need to do, since we'll be having two different teams try to access a menu, we need to find out what team the player is on when they access the menu. So let's grab Get Player Team from the Players category and place it under here. And plug player output into player input. Okay, now we need to compare the teams. So that means we go to Logic Compare and grab Compare Teams. And just plug Team into Team A and manually set Team B to Team 1. So let's go to Logic now and grab a branch so we can confirm that this is the team we're looking for by plugging it into the condition. So plug your event into branch and the condition is A equals B, or does the player's team equal Team 1. Are they on Team 1? Yes. Then we're going to show them Team 1's menu. So let's go to UI, go to the very bottom and grab Show Menu to Player. The player will be the one who sees it. Set the visibility to true. And now we need to actually get our menu to plug into this. So go to Variables Advanced and go down to Get Menu Variable. Plug the value into menu here. And the identifier needs to match as well. So this one will be Team 1 menu. And the scope needs to be global. Our object can remain empty. And now we're good. So if they're on Team 1, they'll see Team 1's specific menu. Well, what if they're not on Team 1? Well, that's what we're going to do here. If you do not have another team, if you only have Team 1 and Team 2 in your map, you don't have to do any extra steps here. And you can just come from if false and do this right here. Just paste these two nodes and come from the if false off of the branch and plug it in here. Plug the player back here like it's supposed to be and just change your identifier from that variable to the correct one for Team 2. And that will do it. This will get a different menu to show up depending on what team the player is on. But let's say you have 3 or more teams. Well, that's pretty easy to do too. Let's go ahead and disconnect this. And we're going to move these a little bit. Okay, so now we're just going to duplicate these. We're going to come from if false into another branch. We're going to have another compare teams, and we're going to plug this back into the same node right here. But this time we're going to manually set this one to Team 2. That way, if it is Team 2, it will show Team 2's menu. Right now, it's currently set up in the same way that we already had it. It will function identically the same way we already had it, even without these two, just because the way it's set up. But this also allows us to come from the if false for a third team. And then you could continue doing it the same way, like this, for every team if you've got multiple teams, until you have the correct number of teams for your map, and so on. So I'm going to delete these since we don't need them. But that was just a way to show you how it works. I'm just going to fly through setting up my menu items. I'm just going to have 2 menu items per team. So This will take a second, so I'm going to speed through it since you already know how to set these up, assuming you watched the original Radial menu tutorial, which is always important for these Radial menu tutorials after. Okay, so I have all of my menu items set up correctly, and now we can actually get them added in. In my case, especially for this example, I'm just going to add it at the beginning of the game. I'm just going to use on gameplay start. Let's go to UI. Go to grab add menu item. Plug that into our event here. We're going to move this just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now we need to actually add these in. So we can actually pull from the get menu variable here since it is a global one. And we're going to plug that into our menu here because we're adding this menu item to menu 1 for team 1. And now we actually need to grab the get menu item variable so we can actually plug them in. Plug the value into the menu item here, and menu index I'm going to arbitrarily set, though you don't have to. I'm just going to have it set since it's a global menu that will always have this in the menu. It won't change. So I can actually put this here in this one specific index and it won't hurt anything at all since it won't be being changed at all at any point. Just going to duplicate that, move this here. And both of these first options are going to be added to menu 1 or team 1's menu. Alright, all this tracks. Now let's set up for team 2's menu, which is pretty much just doing the exact same thing. The only difference is, obviously, the menu is going to be team 2 now, and the identifier is also going to be different. And there we go. Now all of our menu items are added to the correct menus at the start of the game, so everything is set up and ready. The last thing we need to do is make the way for the player to actually interact with the menu and get the right things depending on what menu they're seeing. And that's pretty easy, so let's jump right into that. So the event we need to use to actually make this work is obviously in players or events players, and it is on menu item selected. And no matter how many menus you have in your map, this is the only node you'll need to access any one of them at all. You will not need more than one of these ever, unless you don't have enough room in your script brain and you have a lot of stuff going on in all your menus. You know, you might need more than one just because you need more room in another script brain. But generally speaking, this is the only node you'll need to access any menu in your map without needing more than one ever. So now that we got that out of the way, let's actually do something. So, since we are working with the menus, we need to go to Logic Compare and compare menus. We need to find out what menu is being looked at here and being selected from. Plug the first menu in here to your event, and then we can actually come from all the way up here, just like before, since it's a global variable. Plug that into Team 1, because we're finding out if it is Team 1 that's being selected from. Because of that, let's go to Logic and grab a branch. Plug that into our event, and the condition needs to be the A equals B here. Is it team 1? Does A equals B? If true, then we're going to do something. So let's do that. The next thing we need to do is go to UI and grab get menu item at index. The menu can come back to this here since it passes the condition of being Team 1, so it will be the correct menu when plugging it in here if it reaches this point, so we don't have to bring it all the way from up here at the variable. The menu index can go directly back here as well, and we're good there. Now we actually need to find out what menu item is being selected to make sure it is the correct one at that index. So go to Logic Compare and grab Compare Menu Items. Plug menu item here into this menu item and the top menu item to your variable, or whatever order you have it in that makes it more neat. I do it like this because it's more neat for me. I'm plugging it into my first variable right here, or my first menu item. And that means we need a branch since we have another condition. So go to Logic, go to Branch, plug it in here, And we can plug this into the if true because is it Team 1's menu? Yes. Then we're finding out if it is the battle rifle that is in Team 1's menu. Is it the battle rifle? Well, if it is, then we're going to give them a battle rifle. So I'm going to go to inventory, give player new weapon, and just plug that into the if true because it is the battle rifle that we're selecting. I have my player reference that comes directly from here, so I can just plug this player into that, and it will give the player who accessed that menu item the weapon. Now I'm going to set up the weapon itself, so BR75, it's the first option, I guess, even though the arcade Sentinel Beam is first. That's strange. Weapon addition method is going to be default, and wait until completion is false. So we have all that, but what if it's the Pulse Carbine? Well, since we only have 2 menu items, we can just do this. We can duplicate this node and just go from if false, since there are only 2. I'm going to go down here to Pulse Carbine, and everything else remains the same. And the player is plugged back here to the player again as well. And there we go. If we had 3 menu items, which a lot of you more than likely will, the only thing you need to do is just copy, paste, which this was in the original tutorial as well. Menu item from the bottom plugs in here, the same way this one was. And then the menu item up top here would plug into your next menu item, which is menu item 2. You'd come from if false of the branch. Is it the battle rifle? No. Okay, is it the stalker rifle? Yes. But if it's not, then you would go to your third option if you had a third menu item. Or you would just copy and paste this again. And is it the fourth or third option? Yes. If not, then it's a fourth option, and so on. But since I only have 2, I'm going to delete these and make it just a little bit more understandable here. Place this back here. Okay, so this is all for Team 1's menu. We need to make sure we can do this for Team 2 as well. To do that, all I'm going to do is copy these, since I'm doing the exact same thing for the other team, but with different weapons. So I'm going to move this here. And since we only have 2 menus here, I can go from if false, the same way we did here, since we only have 2 menu items. I'm just going to plug this up here and the menu item down here. I'm going to plug these nodes back up like they're supposed to be with the player here and get the weapons set up. Okay, so now this is actually going to work just fine. Let me explain a few things. If it's not Team 1, then it will go from if false, and we know it's Team 2's menu that's being picked from now. And just like earlier, I only have 2 menu options. So if it isn't the first option, which is the assault rifle, then it must be this one. So that's why I came from if false. But the same thing applies here. If you have more than 2 options, you just do this and set up the way I showed you. And if you have more than 2 team menus, then the same thing applies here. I'm going to place this here because it makes more sense since it's permanently connected to this. We don't need more than 1. You would just make another branch, and you would go from if false here, and you would simply make another compare menus node and connect it the same way we did our first one, except this time you would connect it to your second menu, and then connect the condition here. And then if true, set it up here. And now it's functioning the way we had it already, but now we have room for a third menu if we needed a third menu. And then you just repeat the process for every menu that you have. I'm going to delete these 2 since we don't need them. Plug it back up the way I had. And now it's fully ready, testable, and works flawlessly for each different team. 2 different menus for the 2 different teams. So let's give it a shot. Alright, I have nothing right now. Technically I have the base load out. I am on the I'm on Eagle right now, so it's Team 1. It gives me the battle rifle or pulse carbine. Perfect. Same thing, we'll go to, there we go. So it would do it again. obviously, because we don't have a limit to how many times we can select it, though there is a way to do that. But we can just keep doing that. Now we have 2 of the exact same weapon, which is really not able to be done most of the time, but that's a way you can do that as well. Now let me switch teams. Now let's take a look at my menu. And now it's different. Gives me another AR, or it gives me a Stalker rifle. And there's one last little neat thing. If I change teams again, it will treat it as if it's team 2 every time now. Unless I am team 1, because of the way we have it set up. That's why I said if you have more than one team, you'll need to set it up for each team. But if you only have 2 teams, then it will be flawless. Because now, see, I am on team 3, but that's because the way we have our script set up is only 2 menus. And are they on team 1? And if they're not on team 1, then they get shown menu 2. So that's if they're on team 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't matter. Because if they're not on team 1, that's the menu that they will see. So that's the reason why I said that if you have more than one team, to make sure to set those up as well. Otherwise, they will all get the wrong menu. But there you go. That should be how to set up 2 different teams' menus. And yeah, that should be just about it. This is just the start, though, as the next one is going to cover custom loadouts using the Radial menu. So, until the next time.